Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I made this simple jacket with a notched collar, and I made use of 1.5 yards of Ankara fabric. So if it's something you are interested in, make sure to keep watching and make sure you watch till the end so that you don't miss out on any detail. And this video is very easy to follow and very beginners friendly. So if you find this video useful, if you find it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you're yet to subscribe, share to your loved ones, and also put on a notification bell so that when I post new videos you'll be notified. So we're going to start with the back panel and we're going to draft it on the pattern paper. So on the pattern, I marked 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on the upper part just as a guideline. So the next thing this first line is going to serve as the shoulder line where we're going to take all the vertical measurements from. So on this shoulder line, I will come down from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 11 inches for me. So go ahead to mark yours, and then from my shoulder to my half length is 16 inches, and then from my shoulder to the full length of this top now is 24 inches. So go ahead to mark your own appropriate vertical measurements and then extend the lines this way. So after extending, I'll go ahead to label the line. That is the shoulder line, this is the bust point, this is the half length, which is the waistline, and this is the full length of the top. So after that, I will go ahead to the shoulder line now and place my shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches for me. So I'm going to mark that 8 inches on this line. So go ahead to mark yours. So from that 8 inches I marked, I'm going to come down by my round armhole measurements divided by 2. So mine is 9 inches, but because it's an armless top, I'm going to take out half of an inch from that 9. So I'm going to do 8.5 inches, and then I'll connect the 2 points together this way, and then further extend the line to form the chest line. So after doing that, the next thing is to mark the neckline measurement. So the wideness of the neckline I worked with is 3 inches. 3 inches, and then the depth of the back neckline is 1 inch. Remember, it's going to have a collar, so I'll just connect the points together, and then I'll come over to this armhole line and come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then I'll connect it to meet the neck depth this way. So this is what we have after doing that. You should have something that looks like this as well. So the next thing we want to do is to place the dart. So to get your dart line, divide your nipple to nipple measurements by 2. So mine is 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches on this half length line, on the waistline, and then on the bust line. So I'll connect the 2 points together. So I'll come over to the hip line, which is the full length of the top, and also mark that same 4 inches and connect the points together. So I'll come over to the waistline and take 0.5 inches on both sides of the line, and then I'll take my ruler and connect it all the way to the bust line this way. And then on this hip line, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. I'll come up by 2 inches on this hip line, and then I would use my ruler to also connect it all the way to the waistline this way. So we're going to be making use of a simple armhole dart for this jacket. We're going to make use of princess darts for the jacket. So let's go ahead to do that. So the next thing is to place the armhole measurement. So I'm going to come over to this line and take the midpoint, which is about 3.5 to 3.7 inches for me. So I'm going to mark it on that line. So you can just divide your tape rule into 2 after taking the measurements to get the midpoint. And then on this chest line, I'm going to place my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 11 inches. So I'll use my curved ruler to just connect the 2 points together. So this is what we have. So we'll be making use of a simple armhole dart, princess dart for this jacket. So I'm going to take the midpoint of this line So the total length of the line is about 10 inches. So the midpoint is going to be around the 5 inches mark. And then I will just connect this my bust point down to meet that 5 inches mark. So this is basically all for the dart, for the back panel dart. So after doing that, the next thing is to place the round body measurement. So on the bust line, I'm going to place my round bust measurement divided by 4, that is 11 inches. And then on the waistline, I'll place my round waist divided by 4, which is 9.5 inches for me, and then I'll add this 1 inch for that, making a total of 10.5 inches. And on the full length, I'll place my round hip measurement divided by 4, which is 11.5 inches, and then I'll mark it there. So go ahead to place all your own appropriate round body measurements on your pattern and then connect the points together, just as you can see me doing. So after connecting all the points, this is what I have. So the next thing we're going to do is to eliminate 0.5 inches from this waistline area. So I'm going to come in by 0.5 inches. So this is just to avoid any kind of bulging at the back of your jacket. So I'm going to connect it this way to the bust points, and I'm going to cut it out when I'm cutting. So before we cut it out, I'm going to add a seam allowance of 1.5 inches on the side. So I'm going to take 1.5 inches all the way down, and then go ahead to connect the points together, just as you can see me doing in the video. So this is basically all for the back pattern. So I'm going to also shade out this that area. So let's go ahead to cut it out. So let's go ahead to cut it out together. So just watch closely the parts I'm going to be cutting out and the parts I'll be discarding. So I'm going to cut out the 0.5 inches at the center back. So, and then I'll open up this dart area. So after opening up the dart area, the next thing is to cut out the front. So I placed the back panels on another pattern paper, but this time the front panel has about 3 inches towards the center front. This is because of the collar, and then the upper part has about 5 inches. So you need to add this allowance because of the collar. So what I'm just going to do now is to just mark out the sides, the side measurement, which is the hip line, the waistline, and the chest line and the bust line. So after marking all of that, I'm going to remove the back panel and just go ahead to now connect all these points together. So I'll connect all this, I'll extend the lines this way and then connect this. So by doing this, you're going to save a lot of time from drafting out another bodies. So I've marked all the measurements. I'm going to now connect them. So after connecting them, you see that you have the same body's measurement as the back. So remember that this line is going to be the shoulder line now for the front panel. So I'm going to take my shoulder to shoulder measurements divided by 2, which is 8 inches, and then I'll connect it now to this chest line that I've already marked out to draft the armhole curve. So I'll go ahead to just connect the points this way down to the 8 inches mark. So I forgot to place my shoulder to my bust point. I'm just going to do that now, which is 11 inches. I'm going to come down by 11 inches. This is the bust point, and then I would extend the line this way. So after doing that, the next thing is to mark the neckline. So the wideness of the neckline is still going to be the same 3 inches you used for the back, and the depth of the neckline, the front neckline, is going to be 3 inches as well, although we're still going to modify it. So I'll go ahead to just connect the points together this way, and then come over to this armhole line and come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So after connecting, I'll go ahead to just connect the 2 points together this way. So this is what we have. So I'll come over to this line and just take the midpoint of the line. I'll mark the midpoint, and then I would come in again by 0.5 inches, half of an inch. And then on this chest line, I'm going to place the round bust divided by 4, which is 11 inches. And then I'll use my curved ruler to just connect the 3 points together this way. So after connecting, this is what we have. The next thing is to place the darts. So your dart line, divide your nipple to nipple measurements by 2. So mine is 4 inches. and I'm going to mark it on all the lines this way. And then I'll come down by 1.5 inches from the bust point. So unlike the back that we connected the dart to the bust point, on the front panel you're going to come down by 1.5 inches. So I'll come over now to this waistline and take 0.5 inches on both sides, and come over to the hip line and come up by 2 inches, just like we did while we're drafting the back panel. So I'll go ahead to just create my dart this way. So after that, this is what we have. The next thing we're moving to now is to mark the collar. So the first thing you want to determine is how low you want the neckline to be. So for mine, I just brought it down to the chest line, which is 9 inches. I'll come over to the chest line now. I'll mark a point there, and then I'll connect from my neck width now all the way down to this 9 inches mark. So you can decide to make yours lower, you can decide to make it higher depending on what you want for yourself, but 9 inches was perfect for me. The next thing now is to mark the button allowance. Now there's going to be a button overlap in front, so I'm going to do 1 inch for that allowance. So from that neckline, the neckline depth, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and then connect the points together. So this is going to be the button overlap in front. So after doing that, the next thing is to measure what you have on the neckline of the back panel. So I'm going to just curve my tape rule and measure what I have. So I have about 3.5 inches there. So I'm going to come over to this part of the neckline and come up by that same 3.5 inches. So whatever you got when you measure the neckline of the back, go ahead to measure it here, like just as you can see me doing in the video. But make sure your hand is slanted, just following the slanted neckline, the V neckline shape. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So this is what we have. So I'm going to come over to that line now and come out by 0.5 inches and just blend it into it this way so that it can sit very well on the neckline. So the next thing is to determine how wide the collar is going to be. So for mine, I made use of 3.5 inches. So I'm going to take 3.5 inches from that point this way, but in a slanted manner again. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So you don't take it straight, just slant your hand slightly this way to mark the 3.5 inches. So by the time you connect it together, you see that you are not going to have a straight line. Just follow what I'm doing. And then for the flap in front, I'm going to extend it by 1 inch. So this is going to be the flap, but I want to extend it by 1 inch. If you want yours bigger, you can do 2 inches or even 3 inches, depending on how wide you want your flap to be. So I'm going to extend mine by 1 inch this way, and then I'll connect that 1 inch now to meet the button. So I'll go ahead to just connect the 2 points together this way. So this is what we have. So next thing I'm going to do is to come over to this point. Going to come over to this point and just come up by 1 inch. You can do 2 inches if you want the gap between the two flaps very much. And then I'll slant it into this point now this way. I'll slant it in this way. We're just trying to create the upper collar. So as when you went up by 2 inches, you're going to have more gap between the two flaps. So I'm going to use my curved ruler now to just connect the points now all the way up this way. So this is what we have after doing that. This is basically all on how to form the notched collar. This is basically all. So let's go ahead to create the design at the lower part. So guys, to create that triangular design at the lower part of the jacket, come down from this dart line by 4 inches, and then I'll take my ruler and just extend the line this way. I'll connect it this way all the way to the dart line, and then from that 4 inches I'm going to slant it all the way to the side of my jacket this way. I'll slant it in this way, and then I will also do the same thing up to the point before the button allowance. So this is basically all on how to form that design at the lower part of the jacket. So this is basically all for this front panel. So let's go ahead now to cut this out. So just follow as I cut out the pattern. So just follow while I cut out the pattern. and I'll go ahead to cut out the collar areas. So just watch how I'm going to separate the two collars from each other. So this is what we have for the collar after cutting. So this part is going to be up while this part is going to be the lower part. So during the sewing tutorial, you're going to understand how to join the two pieces together. So before I open up the dart, I'm going to have a simple princess dart, armhole princess dart. So I'm going to measure what I have around the armhole area. I have 11 inches, so the midpoint is going to be 5.5 inches, and then I'll use my curve roller to just connect it all the way to the dart point this way, and then I'll proceed to open it up. So after cutting out, this is basically all for the pattern drafting of this armless jacket. So I'm going to use these patterns now to cut out my fabric, and then I will show you guys the next thing to do. These are the back panels. So guys, I've gone ahead to use the patterns to cut out the fabric. So this is what it looks like. So these are the back panels, and as you can see, I added half an inch. This is the center back. I'm gonna head to label it, and I added half an inch all the way around it because of the joining allowance. I hope you guys understand. Add half an inch all the way around it. I have two pieces of it, as you can see, and I also have the lining pieces as well. So this is what we have. So this is the side back. I added half an inch to this side. I'll be joining to the center, but I did not add to the side because the pattern already has seam allowance. So these are the front panels. So like I did with the back, the center back, I added half an inch all the way around it, as you can see, for turning over with the lining and for joining together. So for this center front, you're going to be using the same fabric as the lining because of the collar. So I have to cut out 4 pieces of it because I'll use 2 as lining. And for the other one, I have the black lining, so that when you turn it over to the right side, your lining will not be showing, so still be showing the same fabric. So for the side front, I added half an inch all the way around without adding to the sides. So for the collar as well, so this is the closed angle of the fabric. I folded my fabric into 2 to cut out the collar, and I added half an inch all the way around it as well, as you can see. So I have 2 pieces of this collar for turning over. This is what we have. So let me go ahead to remove the patterns while we start to work on the fabric. So in my next video, I'm going to show you guys how to join the fabrics together to make this simple jacket. So I'll leave the link in the description box and also in the comment section. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.